Hola, ¿qué tal? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Meg James, your Move to Spain mom, and we're at episode Veintinueve, almost at 30 episodes together. I've had so many new faces here, so excited to have you along. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Move to Spain tips. And today we're talking about traditions and holidays. So sometimes some of the feedback that I get on the coaching calls that I do one-on-one with American families considering a move to Spain is, but like, what about the tooth fairy? What about July 4th and the barbecue at the lake? And what about Thanksgiving and Halloween? And will Christmas be the same without my family near? And so I think one of the things that's keeping people back from considering a move or even a gap year is holidays and traditions. So let's jump right into this topic and talk about what that looks like living in Spain. Okay, so I asked my Instagram community, if you're not a part of it, over at Go and Do Good on Instagram, we've got a great crew of people who ask questions about what it's like to live in Madrid, Spain here. We're moving to southern Spain soon, but just Spain in general as an American from the United States. And my high level story is the hardest holidays for me personally that just feel so different in Spain and the US are Thanksgiving and July 4th. And the reasons I think are, one, Thanksgiving is just so special for Americans, right? For those in the US. It's just super authentic and family oriented, and traditions and the food you eat, you just don't find that here. In fact, in Spain, it's just a regular Thursday, right? Because it's not a Spanish holiday at all. And so that is one that our family keeps up by continuing to go back to the US. And actually that's kind of become our family reunion. Every year we go to my sister's house, my parents' house in New Jersey. We all get together. We do the same thing through the week. That's how we've been able to stay close with our families, making sure we keep Thanksgiving alive no matter what. Thanksgiving is like an untouchable, unforgivable event to miss. The other one for me specifically is July 4th. It's funny here because, you don't hear fireworks. We live near the lakes in South Carolina, and I would love going on the boat with friends and jumping in the warm water and just the traditions of the patriotism that come along with July 4th. And obviously you don't have that here at all. So I think those are kind of the two just to be prepared for if you're making a move, that it will feel different here in Spain on those days. But like someone is saying, you can make your own family traditions on those days here. On July 4th, I did hot dogs and blueberry, strawberry salad, dessert type thing, fruit salad that had all the red, white, and blue colors. You can make ice cream sundaes and do popsicles or whatever it is that you did in the US. And same as Thanksgiving. We have spent one Thanksgiving here in Spain because we had just moved here late September of 2023, and we couldn't go home for Thanksgiving, but we tried to join in with a couple of other American friends who were doing a Thanksgiving meal. And while it didn't feel exactly the same, it was still something special and a new tradition to start. So I'm gonna look at the comments and see what traditions or holidays people are most concerned about leaving. Now, one message I actually got from someone that I didn't share here that made me laugh is the tooth fairy. Now, something that's very different in Spain compared to the US is in Spain, they have a mouse or rat or some kind of animal called raton perez. And he is the one who, through a fictional story, comes and takes the tooth from you instead of the tooth fairy. So I have had our 10-year-old now lose a tooth here in Spain, and he gets a euro or €2 coin under the pillow the same way he would in the US. So although it's different, it's not a tooth fairy. We brought our little tooth fairy pillow here with us just as a way to kind of make it feel normal when someone loses a tooth of our kids. So that's just another example. So someone and many people are commenting that Christmas would feel really different. And I have been here now for 2 Christmases in Spain, and I actually think Christmas here feels very exciting. I mean, Madrid specifically has so many cool events happening down in Plaza Mayor. They have the Christmas markets. It's beautifully lit here. Christmas feels even longer because of Three Kings Day here. And so in Spain, I would say it depends on the family that you speak with. Some just do a very small kind of Christmas dinner gathering without many presents or things for the kids. And then Three Kings Day is when the 3 kings bring the big presents to the kids. Now, I've also met with Spanish families who are like, well, we do the opposite. We have like Christmas big, like you have in the US, and then we do like small 3 little gifts that the 3 wise men or the 3 kings bring, because they're getting ready to go back to school the next day or 2 days later. So you don't want to get all of your stuff January 7th or 8th and go back to school the next day. And so, Christmas is one where we have a Christmas tree here in Spain. I went to Amazon or whatever and had a Christmas tree delivered. It's not the same, obviously, as the one we had in the US, where we would go to the Christmas tree farm and pick the tree, but it still feels festive. And so Christmas to us has continued to feel really special. Someone mentioned, multiple people are mentioning Halloween. Halloween is one that surprised me. So our first year in 2023, I was not prepared. I didn't bring any kind of Halloween costume. I just thought that was a US commercialized event. I didn't think anyone would celebrate. And we actually looked out of our apartment window in Madrid, and there were so many kids going shop to shop. Now, it's different here, especially in Madrid, in a city where it's not homes, single family homes in the area that we live in Valdebebas. It's apartment complexes, it's urbas. And so they didn't go door to door, which they did last year in our urba, but the first year they went from store to store. And so that was so cool to see. All of the cafes and the bakeries and the dentists and all the different places had little candies or little stickers or things that they could go door to door and collect. Last year in our urba, we organized a bunch of parents that were English speaking, Spanish speaking, and the kids went around to about 15 decorated doors. So Halloween still does exist. I do think in Spain, Halloween is a little bit scarier than the US. Definitely more blood and gore type costumes than, like, you won't really see like Rapunzel walking around. You would see like bloody Rapunzel dying kind of thing. So I think that was a cultural difference for us, but Halloween here still does exist. Another one that someone is mentioning is New Year's Eve and how different that feels. And we actually love the tradition of New Year's Eve here because, here they do the grapes, where you have to eat 12 grapes by the 12 chimes of the bell at midnight, which is so funny because in the US, you're so scared of your kids choking on grapes. But instead here, we're like, chug, like get the grapes in by say that you have good luck next year. So we've embraced it. We still had fireworks outside of our apartment windows, both New Year's Eve we've been here. And so New Year's Eve still feels really fun to us. If anything, we are up later in Spain. So staying up later for New Year's Eve in Spain felt much more natural than it did in the US to our kids. Now, someone commented though that Easter felt a little bit different to them. We just got over Easter and Semana Santa here in Spain. And that is one that definitely feels more religious than it does lighthearted. And so in the US, I would say Easter feels very over commercialized, where you sit on the Easter bunny's lap, which if you've been part of the Instagram community, I can't handle. I think it's so weird. Even when the kids were babies, we couldn't do the Easter bunny. Like, you don't go to the mall to sit on a 6-foot man's lap that's dressed like a bunny. Like, I just have standards as a parent. I just don't get it. A lot of people do it as a tradition, something they've done. I did it growing up, but to me, it was just one that I just couldn't see my family doing. Now, Easter baskets. I have Easter baskets that I bought here in IKEA. They're not for Easter, they're just mesh baskets that I fill with what I found, the Easter straw, like the yellow straw you would put in a basket, and just got a bunch of Easter candy. A lot of the supermarkets here do sell Easter candy. And so we still had a little Easter, they each got a little Lego or clothing or whatever it was they were asking for. So we still celebrate that, but I do like here that Easter is more focused on Jesus and the traditions and the processions. This was the first year that we got to go to Madrid's processions and see the whole thing, right? Of seeing how they presented Jesus and the carriers of the statue of Jesus, and just the significance and the importance of what Easter truly means was really special to us. We're actually looking forward in Malaga next year to be even closer to Malaga processions, because we hear in Andalusia it's even more ornate and a big deal. So we're looking forward to that. Some of the traditions that people mentioned that they were either sad to leave or that they were glad to gain as Americans, or British in this case, leaving or entering Spain. Someone mentioned Guy Fawkes Night. They're British. I've never looked into it. I looked into it a little before the video, and it seems like it's some historical event that it ties into fireworks and things that they wouldn't have anymore when they moved from the UK to Spain. Now, another example is an American family who at one point lived in Spain, and they were excited to have some of the days of the saints that were celebrated in Catalonia, like in Barcelona. They were able to do days days that were focused on roses. I think it was Saint Jordi, or I forget the name of the date, but it was an important, significant reference to them of a holiday that they hadn't had that they now got to celebrate being in Spain. So I guess my overall opinion about holidays and traditions in Spain, I've shared this before, that what your family chooses to do, regardless of where you live, will carry on in your heart, right? Regardless of whether you're in your home, in an apartment, in a rental, in an Airbnb, short-term, long-term. And just as a little example of a tradition we do, because someone here mentioned junk food, that they miss junk food in the US. And don't worry, while it is healthier food here, you will find junk food. One of my favorite things here, having moved to Spain, is how we incorporate the things that we did in the US still. We still have yes days on days that we don't have school or trips, where we can say, yes, you can go to laser tag. Yes, you can have a friend over. Yes, you can walk to the Maxi China and get sports cards, right? We used to do yes days, and now we even do them with a little more freedom, where the boys get to walk and get the stuff themselves. We also do taco nights on Tuesday, right? Yes, I'm aware we're not in Mexico and Spanish food is not Mexican, I know, but we love tacos, and the simplicity of a weeknight meal of tacos tonight is Taco Tuesday. And so you can keep that tradition alive. Just because you move countries and maybe they don't do it culturally here doesn't mean that you and your family need to stop. And so I'd love to know in the comments, is there a holiday here in Spain that has surprised you, or one that you still continue to miss in the US? I think it's very normal to miss traditions that you had, especially with extended family. In our specific situation, we lived away from extended family. So my parents and all of my siblings are in New Jersey. Logan's mom and family is in Florida. We lived in South Carolina. We went to college in Florida, but moved to South Carolina. And so we never had the extended holiday situation besides Thanksgiving, except when the kids were really little and we lived in Florida. And so we've learned to have to kind of make our own traditions, and that it's okay. And even if it's for a finite period of time, you will be okay with the traditions looking a little bit different. So I hope this encouraged you in some way, or we could have a healthy discussion below in the comments about holidays that you miss. I'm looking forward to learning more about your family's journey. So if you at any time want to connect through my course or a call, I'd love to hear what your next steps are in your consideration of moving to Spain. And I'll be meeting with you next week to talk about the next topic. Ciao.